Hello ladies and gentlemen, so I'm making this video quickly because I posted a photo onto the long exposure page on Reddit and people were interested on how I did it. This is a technique that I used from this other YouTuber I found, and I'll link his profile in the description below. And essentially what you do is you get one of these black fiber brushes. These are kind of like the little toy things that you used to get as a kid. In fact, I actually have a white version that is very similar to that, because in this version, when I connect this to a torch with a universal connector, you'll see the entire thing lights up. And you might have had one of these when you were a kid with lights that are coming at the end. Colors. This one, instead of using this white fiber brush, I essentially connect it to the black one. And only the light at the end comes out. What I did for the other photo is I used a bit of red colored foil. This is a pretty janky way of doing it, but it is what it is. You want to put it on this end because otherwise the torch is probably going to burn the plastic, because this torch gets very, very hot. It's the M2R Warrior that I use, and you see now we have red lights. The color balance on this camera is a bit off, but I hope you forgive me because I'm just quickly doing this. I'll make a video later with an actual model in the back, and we'll see how it's actually done. Now, I don't have a studio, so I basically did a sort of janky setup where I attached a black background with these clamps to the curtain rail, and I also made the bottom of my bed black, and we did the photo shoot back here for all the photos that I did. There's a bunch of them. Much more from the photo set that I'll probably post to my socials that you can follow below if you want to see some more stuff in that similar vein to the photo that you saw. Now, once you have a background, you want the lights completely out, and you want to set your camera to bulb mode. Now, my camera I used is the Sony a7 III. For the photo that you saw, I used the 24 to 70mm G Master f2.8 lens, but you don't want to really do anything at f2.8 because you want to get a lot of in focus. So you'll just keep things very down, everything else very black. And the brighter your torch is, the more that you can sort of increase your f-stop and get more in focus. That's why I like using the M2R Warrior, because it's quite bright, but it's also quite small, so you can take it to shoots out, and you can swap the batteries out because they're just using these sort of standard ones here that you can get pretty much anywhere this size. Bunch on Amazon, even like a vape store or something like that. These are used in a lot of things, and a lot of lights as well. You can use other torches, but stuff like this, these are cheap ones that I got off Amazon, and they really aren't quite as good. So you'll have to bring your f-stop down a bit. Once you're in that dark room with the bulb mode on, all you want to do essentially is brush over the face in whichever pattern you want. You need your model to stay as still as possible, otherwise you'll have weird eyes in different locations unless you try and do the whole thing in one go, but I find that's a bit boring. There are different ways of doing it. You can sort of like pepper light in and like sort of change the amount of light in a certain spot and have different lines and different patterns. But I always like to sort of go for the wavy paint-like effect because I like my photos to look like a painting almost. There's lots of things you can do. I have a lot of equipment, and if you guys want to see how I do other style photos that I'll be posting in my socials probably tonight maybe, there are things like this, which is the light painting whip, which I use to create a like orb-like effect on one of my photos in sort of like a cage, because I did it in a burst pattern with the light. Another lens that I often quite use on the close-ups and some shots is this. It's the 90mm macro f2.8 G lens, and this will pick up obviously quite a lot of detail in all the light, but because I'm in a very the room's not infinitely big here, I'm just in a student room and I can't afford a studio space, I can only really use these on very close-up shots, even though I'd want to use it on more, but there's not much you can do about that. You yourself will probably want to wear quite dark clothing compared to your model because you don't want to be picked up in the picture, but you shouldn't anyway, but just don't wear anything white, for example, but black would be preferred. And yeah, you can pick up these light painting brushes and stuff. There's a website in America that I use, I think lightpaintingbrushes.com or something like that. You can Google it, or I'll put probably a link in the description comments. I ordered something from France and it never arrived, and I messaged them and lost like £350 from that. So I wouldn't recommend you order from the French website. I very much hope that you guys enjoyed that. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment them below. I'll be responding to them. Apologies for the bit of the delay. I posted those photos just before going to bed, like in the early hours of this morning, and then just slept for the entire day. So I hope you don't mind. The next video will be a lot more professionally done. I'll probably shoot it on a secondary camera, but I just wanted to do this on the webcam and quickly get it out there so you guys sort of like knew what to do. Peace.